Many social movements had their origins in cafes, and that includes a movement which challenges conventional ideas about schizophrenia. It's called the Hearing Voices movement. Toronto is the latest city to host a Hearing Voices cafe where people can discuss their experience of hearing voices. And the CBC's Mary Weens attended a gathering at Coffee and All That Jazz, which is a coffee shop on Roncesvalles.
My name is David, and I'm the owner of Coffee and All That Jazz. And I enjoy having the group here, and I love them.
David reserves a room at the back of the cafe for the Hearing Voices crowd.
When I hear people hearing voices, you know how there's always that crazy people and all that.
The crazy people.
Yeah, and now that I've met these people, and they're just like normal people like, you and I, and I find that reassuring.
My name's Steve, and I've not actually heard voices, but I work with people who do, and I just see myself as an ally, and I just want to increase my sensitivity and compassion, or how I can be supportive or understand it more.
Steve works in the mental health system, but he decided to learn more about the phenomenon of hearing voices after a phone call from his brother.
Yeah, I was in my home, and he called me, and I was surprised. I wasn't expecting this, and he told me that he was hearing voices, and he saw a counselor, but he didn't go to hospital, he didn't receive medication of any time, but it was there for a 4-month period, and I think he felt safe to talk to me about it, but it wasn't easy, and so I can relate to how other people just don't feel comfortable sharing it with anybody, unless it's a very close friend, and even then they're weighing the risks of, will I be denied? Will the person not want to be my friend anymore? Will I be passed over for a promotion if I'm at work and people know I'm at whatever? So there's a lot of fears about what are the implications.
And the voices can be frightening.
Well, I didn't hear voices when I first got sick.
This woman tells me she began hearing voices 5 years ago.
Well, it's just been very scary. This fear that someone's going to harm you, or it's not really anything too definite. It's just a mumble.
It's stressful?
Very stressful.
Some people with schizophrenia describe the experience as feeling commanded to do things they don't want to do, or being denigrated.
Just thinking people don't like me and they're talking about me.
What comes through when you hear
Derogatory comments.
Like what?
Oh, I don't know now.
It can be difficult to share them because they can be pretty horrible in polite society.
Kevin Healy organized this cafe. Some of the voices he hears, he says, aren't fit to talk about on the radio.
Yeah, I have a whole bunch that have been with me for a long time, and they love to swear. I've gone through that phase with mine now, and even so that when they do that to me, it's like a joke. A lot of mine, I've identified who the voices are. For me, the ones who are with me are people who've been a part of my life at some point. And the ones who've hung around are actually the people I wanted to hang around because they're symbolic of good times in my life. There have been a few that were actually the opposite, where researchers call it perpetrator voice. It's the voice of somebody who did something to me at some point, and it's almost like a tape recorder playing over and over, but it isn't just a sound. It's a full reliving that experience with all of its pain. And so you can kind of imagine how difficult that can be if that's what's going on.
To Kevin, this cafe is a chance to talk about that experience without shame or without labeling it as an illness. New treatments emphasize talk therapy and less medication. The American Journal of Psychiatry published a landmark study of people diagnosed with schizophrenia. More than 200 were treated with a combination of talk therapy combined with the lowest possible doses of medication. The study found those people made far more progress over 2 years than patients who received the conventional drug-focused care. Attitudes are changing in Toronto's medical community too. Kevin says many of the people who attend a Hearing Voices group he started 5 years ago were referred by their psychiatrists.
People are hearing about us, and over the last 18 months, I would say that half of the new people who've come for the first time to the Hearing Voices group have found out about us from their psychiatrist at CAMH. Yeah, so we're part of the landscape now, and people are accepting us for what we do. It's just another thing that people can try out. We're not trying to push anything on anybody. We're just here.
Exactly. I mean, you got to be open to everybody, and whether they're nice or not. But especially when they're nice, it makes business that much easier for me. So, would you like a espresso? Okay, we'll make an espresso for this lady. Double espresso is okay. Okay, can you do a double?
Thanks, Mary.